Now this is how you make crossed double crochet or cross double crochet, depends on how you say it. Now there's two ways to do it. One way, you'll be instructed to use your stitches so that each element of the cross double will go into the stitches. I'll show you that one first, and then I will join up another colour and show you how to make cross double crochet going into spaces between stitches. They could be regular stitches, they could be puffs, clusters, bobbles, whatever, popcorns, could be anything. Just follow your pattern. But the difference is that usually these ones that are working into spaces usually overlap. So where you started one is where you finish the next one. So just pay attention to that difference when you're looking at your patterns, and now I'll show you how to make each of these individually. So to make crossed double crochet or cross double crochet, it usually starts by skipping a stitch, working a double crochet, then you come back and you work into the skipped stitch, right? And it depends on your pattern. You really need to check your pattern, whether you begin with that or whether you come back into the corner space. That will really depend on your pattern. It should tell you where to go. So it's really just double crochets crossing over each other to form X's. So here we go. First thing we do is skip one stitch, make a double crochet, just a regular double crochet in the next stitch. So now we have a skipped stitch, it's the one there in the corner. And we come back to make another double crochet, second one back. So you just draw back, put it into that first stitch and pull the yarn through and make a regular double crochet. It doesn't look like much when you first make them, but once you wash your blanket and it gets pulled and stretched into position, those cross doubles will really flatten out into nice X's. So don't be too worried about how they look as you're making them. Worry about how they look after you've finished. So let's do another one. Yarn over for a double crochet. Skip one stitch, go into the next one, make a double crochet. Yarn over, come back to the skip stitch, just draw back. Don't be trying to do this stuff because you'll lose where you are. Just yarn over, draw back, everything will bend, and make your double crochet in the stitch that you skipped, like that. Very, very easy. Again, skip one, double crochet. Yarn over, draw back into the skipped stitch, double crochet, and that's all cross doubles are. Let me just stretch this out. See, once you start stretching it out and the pattern, the fabric lays where it's supposed to, you see how they look much nicer now? It's a very easy thing. It's not a difficult technique. I'll do just a couple more. Skip one, double crochet in the next. Yarn over, come back to the skipped stitch, draw back to the skipped stitch, and make another one, another double crochet. But also please read your pattern for instructions about where the corner placement is. They might have started in the first stitch, they might have started in the corner, for example. That will add an extra stitch if you're not careful. If you start in the first stitch and then you come back and you work the second half in the corner, you're going to end up with an extra stitch on your side, and that'll affect your stitch count. So just please be very careful reading these things. All right, that's a cross double crochet in stitches. There's another way you might be asked to do a cross double crochet in your pattern. So I keep saying it's critical that you read the instructions. Is you might be asked to make them between stitches in spaces. So these ones down here, I worked under the top loops of each stitch. That's how we work them. Over here, I'm going to work them between stitches. That could be clusters, it could be puffs, it could be popcorns, whatever the pattern has. It might say that you need to work them as a split stitch into the spaces. So each new cross double will end in the same space as the previous cross double started. All right. So for example, we need to make a double crochet into the next space. So we make that first double crochet, and then it says to come back and work in the second half of it in the space before. So there it is, there. So you come back across a stitch from space to space or gap to gap instead of inside the stitches like we did here. So let's do that again. You come, skip the stitch or the puff, the cluster, whatever it is, skip it, make your first double crochet, then come back and go into that skipped space. It's a space we're skipping now, not a stitch, and make your second double crochet. Let me just get that out so you can see that now. We are now flanking. I've got clusters here, but it could be anything. We're flanking those stitches. Now the reason you need to be careful about this is because there are always less spaces on a side than there are stitches. So you're always going to be have one less space, one less space to make stitches in than if you're just working into your stitches. At least one, depending on how the pattern goes too. So you've got to be careful because it'll affect your stitch count. So here we've got 1, 2, 3 cross doubles. They start away, they finish back where you came from. The next one starts away and comes back and finishes where you started the previous one. So they're overlapping in the space. These ones did not overlap. So there is nothing beginning and ending in the same space. And when I wash this and flatten it out, it'll come out good. So each one is under the top loops here. Here we're in the gaps. Very important distinction, and also work out your corners. That also will affect your stitch count. So please check the pattern. Don't just use these tutorials. Check the pattern because the designer will know what they're trying to achieve and will give you stitch counts accordingly. If you're putting your stitches in the wrong place, you'll be wondering why things are not working out. Very, very easy. Cross double crochet in stitches and cross double crochet in spaces. Have fun.